I mean, diagonal junction. Okay, we need to. Well, we had a full year of history pure about World War II, but it's more so about the historic events, not so much about the political part. Okay. Well, for one thing, you had a whole year of World War II, which is a lot. Okay, that's fine there. I just wonder if... I mean, do you feel like it's enough? Do you feel like you understand what happened in World War II? This one... Oh, this is wrong. This needs to go that way, which is somewhat awkward. Somewhat awkward. Can I make this less awkward? Not really. Not really, no. Probably makes the most sense to do that. No, that's not it either. That's not it either. This needs to go in that way. So this is out. That's out, okay. I personally always had a pretty big interest in it, so I feel like I knew enough about it, I guess, but not sure about the people that just take class because they have to. I mean, look, World War II, just talking about the war is kind of easy, but talking about the racism and how people could participate in it, how people could let it happen, that's a much tougher thing. Anyway, maybe it's too hard for people. Maybe it's just too hard. Alright, what happens here? Let me just double check this. So, if that becomes powered, then we would leave that and go to 2-2. Which, by the way, what is 2-2? 2-2 is Sentinel. Where are my signs? This is 2-2 Sentinel, and then this is, well, I can't read this, but from 2-2 Sentinel. Let me just knock that back a little bit. That's never gonna be powered because it always joins that way. So now we need some powered rails here. Which, how do we do powered rails? How do we do powered rails? We have to do it, so like, we have to do it like that. And then power that. But then we can't do it that side there, we have to do it further back. I've seen, Wesley says, I've seen a pretty good movie about it called The Weller. Die Weller? And it's basically about a German teacher starting a class about fascism and tyranny. And his first question to class was, would something like World War II ever happen again? And most of the class thinks not. Ouch. It's very easy. But then, as the movie unfolds, it proves it is very easy to make an uprising like that happen. Oh, it is. It is. And in fact, it has happened. In other parts of the world, like things like Rwanda, genocides. Even right now the Rohingya is being attacked for no good reason. Like ethnic cleansing happens a lot. It's happening right now. Not in Europe. Do we need to go back and look up the Rohingya on the internet? It's yeah, it's alarming. Alarming how easily it happens. So okay, how maybe we can do that. One and then do that. Okay, we can do this. So that's powered, that's good. The world can be such a bad place if you think about it. Well, people can do... Yeah, Kevin, people can... It's very easy for people to do bad things. I mean, people are capable of truly atrocious things. Unfortunately. Okay, so that's the diagonal junction. Hopefully, we can figure that out. Alright, so let's say hypothetically there's going to be a junction there. And then let me alt tab and look at my map. 2-3 canopy. 2-3 canopy is, I guess, a branch off there. 2-3 canopy is right there. Alright, so that's 2-3. And probably wants the junction on this part to keep things simple. Alright, let's put the junction here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 5. It probably always will be. Well, Kevin, it's up to people, right? I mean, it's up to every one of us to make the world how we would like it. And yeah, it's always going to be like that. I mean, people always have the capacity to destroy and to break, do all sorts of unpleasant things. Yeah, I mean, there'll always be bad people, and it's gonna be up to like every generation you have to push back against bad people and bad ideas. I mean, right now, plenty of bad ideas right now, and you gotta push back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 2, 3 canopy, and this is from 2, 3 canopy. And then this sometimes is going to be a switch, but not today. This always goes that way. This sometimes leaves to go to canopy. And otherwise the trains go straight through, okay. So that's 2, 3. Wesley says our world is literally built on war. If you look back in history, it's mostly war and killings and revolutions, etc. Wesley, I'm concerned. I'm worried that. I mean, yes, there's always been war, but there's always been periods of peace between the wars too. I don't think built on war really makes sense because war never builds. War never builds. War always destroys. So people build up the economy, they farm, they build up cities, and then they have a war and they destroy stuff, and then they rebuild, and then they have another war, they destroy stuff, and then they rebuild. What would happen to Earth without wars? I think there'll be other ways to compete, Kevin. I think there's always other ways to compete. Like even when there's no war, there's still competition, just not violent ones. You know what I mean? I need to look at my map again. 2-4 and 2-5 on the other side. 2-4 is Ozymandias, and then 2-5 is Folly. These names are so interesting. 2-4. 2-4 is somewhere over here. Ozymandias is a buried pyramid in the sand, if I remember right. I just have to find it. It's hard to find it. Okay, here it is. Ozymandias is this thing. There's a pyramid underneath here. So Ozymandias would join up. I guess it would join up. I mean, it's easy to join up on the straight bit, right? Okay, let's join up on the straight bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Maybe Wesley says maybe wrong choice of words, but I just meant that everything exists mostly because of wars. Like borders usually because of wars or resolutions after a war. I mean, I'm kind of picking at words. I'm picking at words, Wesley. So I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you as much as I'm kind of not sure if it's the best way to phrase what you're trying to say. You're right. I mean, a lot of things are defined by war. Let's put it that way. War defines a lot of what we have and what we do. But at the same time, you know, back to what Kevin is saying, like, what would happen if there were no war? I think this stuff would still happen if there weren't any wars. Borders. I mean, if there were no wars, there still have to be borders of some kind, even if it's only for purely administrative purposes, right? You know, like you have a border between you and your neighbor. Like my neighbor's house is out over there, and I'm over here. There's a fence between us. It's not like we fight each other all the time. Like I don't go over there and punch my neighbor all the time. But there's still a boundary, right? So I think, you know, borders will still exist regardless of whether there are wars or whether there are whether there's the need to divide places. And let's dig under here. But you know, if you're trying to say that, you know, a lot of what we have is the way it is because of wars, that is also true. No, that is also true. Yes. Like the boundaries of nations historically has been set the way they are because of wars. or at least because but you know, I still want to just say that there are other ways to compete. You know, economic competition is also a thing. War is so crude, right? I mean, presumably you go to war to try and take stuff from the other guy. I mean, it's just mugging them, basically. You just bomb them on the head and take their stuff. But it costs so much. Like, you have to pay so much in lives, in weapons, in food and resources just to go to war. And a lot of the times you don't even get back what you pay in. Wesley says, I guess if we look back at the period of Cold War and the space race, that was the other way to compete. Yeah, that's right, Wesley. So the Cold War, as we all know, people decided, okay, we can't actually nuke each other. That's a bad idea. So they competed in other ways. And they called it a Cold War, but it wasn't really a war. It was more like a cold peace. I guess we've learned a lot from worlds like what's wrong, what's right. Although that's only what we know about it, of course. Well, there were still wars during the Cold War, just not a big one, right, Wesley? I mean, there were proxy wars. You know, fighting in Vietnam, in North Korea. And the Korean War and the Vietnam War were ostensibly between the communists and the Western allies. So they still fought, just not big ones. Like small contained proxy wars. I mean, it completely wrecked Korea and Vietnam. I mean, it's not like everyone got out unscathed. But there were no major exchanges between the big powers. Okay, I don't know where I'm going now. Let me look at my map again. 2-5. Alright, 2-5 is... is... 2-5 is... Wait. Where is 2-5? I am lost. I don't know what I'm... Oh, 2-5 I think is down here. I mean, Kevin, it's a bit of a shame that we have to go to war to figure out that what's wrong and what's right. You would hope that people don't actually have to start killing each other to figure out that killing each other is bad. I mean, you want to be smarter than that, right? It's like you don't want to burn your house down before you learn that burning your house down is a bad idea. Like we want to be smarter than that. Unfortunately, it seems like we're not smarter than that a lot of the times. Okay, so this is Folly. It's a well in the middle of nowhere. Oh, did I put the signs in? I didn't put the signs in the last one, did I? And Folly is... I guess Folly can join up here. Alright, Folly can join up here. We're gonna not join up at the bridge. That'll be a little bit awkward. Signs, and we go 2-4 Ozymandias. And then this side is from 2-4 the Ozymandias. And then here we're gonna go chop this tree down. Alright, chop that tree down. And then from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Kevin says I hate time zones. I would love to see more, but I gotta go to bed. See you later. Alright, take care, Kevin. Have a good night. And thanks for joining. Wesley says the sad truth is that even though we have learned war and military is still the biggest finance for some countries, it is. Well, for United States, I mean, United States far and away eclipses everyone else in military spending. So let's not beat about the bush there. It's the US. 2.5. And I mean, it's not like they don't know either. 2.5. This is from, my bad. From 2.5 Folly. I wasn't going to name names, but yes. I mean, it's kind of difficult to avoid. Although, you know, not to pick on the United States. I mean, countries like China is ramping up its military spending too. So, you know, being or following a bad example, I guess, is China. Japan also constantly wants to talk about stop being pacifist. And it's not like the Americans don't know. A lot of Americans understand like the cost of that. It was Eisenhower. President Eisenhower, yeah, Korea. I mean, maybe Korea illustrates everything. I mean, I was gonna say, like, Eisenhower was the one who said that, like, every dollar spent on, I'm paraphrasing, his quote is pretty good. Every dollar spent on guns and warships and planes is a dollar not spent on education and healthcare and on improving the lives of American people. It's a great quote. We should look it up, somebody. President Eisenhower said that all the way back just after the Second World War, and he spoke against the military-industrial complex. How if you spend too much money on guns, you are depriving your own people from the benefits that money would have bought if spent on the people. But they know it, but they still do it. Like the Americans, they know the problem, but they can't seem to stop spending more and more money on the military. Let's see, white one on this side. And back to North Korea. I mean, again, like their people are starving. The North Korean people are starving, but they have nukes. So they literally are doing what Eisenhower said not to do. Like, instead of spending the money to feed their own people, they spend the money on nukes. And so the people starve while they have nuclear weapons. And really, what are they gonna do with those nukes? Are they really gonna nuke somebody? There's no way that's gonna go well for them if they actually do it. So it's just a thing that they've built that they can never use. I mean, imagine if they actually nuked the United States. There'd be hell to pay. The retaliation would be so big and so swift. I mean, it's just... Anyway.